You talk too much. You explain yourself. You defend your intentions. And because of that, people test you. People disrespect you. People stop fearing consequences. Say nothing. Not because you are empty, but because you are full of intention. In a world that rewards noise and constant reaction, silence has become rare, and anything rare is immediately valued. Most people speak the moment a thought appears in their mind. They rush to fill the space, terrified of being misunderstood, forgotten, or ignored. That fear is their weakness. Your silence must become your advantage. When you stay silent, you force others to lean in. Human nature despises uncertainty. The mind panics when it cannot predict behavior. The moment you do not respond the way they expect, you gain psychological ground. Silence interrupts patterns. It creates tension. And tension is power when you know how to hold it. Machiavelli understood that power is not about honesty or openness. It is about control. Words give information, and information gives leverage. Every unnecessary sentence you speak becomes a weapon someone else can later use against you. The more you reveal, the easier you are to read. The easier you are to read, the easier you are to manipulate. Silence protects your position. It keeps your intentions hidden and your next move unclear. Watch how people behave when you do not immediately reply. They begin to talk more. They explain themselves. They overshare. They expose motives, insecurities, and weaknesses. While they speak, they give you everything you need. Silence turns you into the listener, and the listener always holds the advantage. You are not reacting, you are collecting. Silence also reshapes how people perceive your value. Those who speak constantly are seen as accessible, predictable, and replaceable. But the silent individual appears selective, reserved, important. People assume that if you are not speaking, it is because your words are too valuable to waste. They begin to assign depth to you, without you having to prove anything. There is a hidden authority in restraint. Anyone can talk. Very few can hold back. The ability to remain silent when provoked, questioned, or challenged signals emotional control. And emotional control is the foundation of dominance. The person who cannot control their tongue cannot control their future. Consider how silence functions during confrontation. When insulted, most people rush to defend themselves. They explain, justify, and react. In doing so, they lower themselves to the level of the attacker. Silence denies the insult power. It forces the aggressor to sit alone with their own words. It creates discomfort. It communicates that you do not see the attack as worthy of response. This is not passivity. This is calculated restraint. Machiavelli never praised weakness disguised as humility. He praised strategy. Silence is a strategy when used deliberately. It allows you to decide when a response will be most effective, instead of responding when emotions demand it. Silence also trains others to respect your boundaries. When you stop explaining yourself, people stop expecting explanations. When you stop reacting to every comment, people stop testing you. You condition the world on how to treat you through what you tolerate and what you ignore. The most dangerous individuals in history were not the loudest ones. They were the observers, the ones who spoke rarely but acted with precision. Their silence made their words heavier when they finally chose to speak. When someone who is usually silent opens their mouth, people listen, because silence has created anticipation. Your silence should feel intentional, not insecure. Calm, not confused. Stillness, not hesitation. You are not silent because you are afraid to speak. You are silent because you are deciding whether the moment deserves your voice. Every second you remain silent while others talk, your position strengthens. You see patterns. You recognize alliances. You detect lies. Noise blinds people. Silence sharpens perception. In a world full of performers, become the observer. In a room full of talkers, become the one everyone watches. Silence removes you from chaos and places you above it. It turns you into a question mark, and people fear what they cannot define. Power begins the moment you realize that not every thought deserves expression, not every challenge deserves a response, and not every conversation deserves your participation. You do not need to announce yourself to be noticed. Presence is not created by volume, movement, or constant expression. Presence is felt when you enter a space and alter its energy without saying a word. Most people try to earn attention. The powerful command it naturally. This difference is not accidental, it is the result of control. Controlled presence begins with restraint. When you move slowly, people assume confidence. When you do not rush to fill silence, people assume authority. When your expressions are measured, people assume you are calculating rather than reacting. Human beings instinctively read these signals. They associate calm with dominance and chaos with weakness. Machiavelli understood that authority must appear effortless. The moment power looks strained, it is questioned. A controlled presence communicates that you are not seeking approval, permission, or validation. You are simply existing in your position, unbothered by whether others accept it. Watch how uncertainty spreads in a room when one person remains composed while everyone else is reactive. Your stillness becomes a mirror that exposes their instability. They begin to self-correct around you. Voice is lower, movement slow, behavior adjusts. This is influence without instruction. Controlled presence is not about intimidation through aggression. Aggression signals insecurity. The man who must dominate loudly is trying to convince himself first. True presence intimidates because it is quiet and immovable. It suggests that you are not easily affected, not easily provoked, and not easily displaced. Your body speaks before your mouth ever does. The way you sit, the way you stand, the way you hold eye contact communicates your internal state. A controlled presence means you are comfortable taking up space without demanding it. You are not shrinking, and you are not invading. You are simply grounded. People test those who appear uncertain. They rarely test those who appear composed. Control creates an invisible boundary that others hesitate to cross. This boundary is felt, not spoken. It is built through consistency. You respond the same way under pressure as you do in comfort. You do not overreact. You do not over-explain. You do not seek reassurance. Machiavelli warned that respect is fragile when it depends on affection. Controlled presence removes that dependency. You do not need people to like you to respect you. Respect comes from predictability in principle, not emotion. When people know you will not bend under social pressure, they adjust their behavior accordingly. Presence also governs timing. You do not speak the moment you have the floor. You allow silence to work for you. You let anticipation build. When you finally speak, your words land with more weight because your presence has prepared the space to receive them. Many mistake presence for charisma. Charisma is performance. Presence is gravity. Charisma seeks to attract, presence pulls. One is exhausting to maintain, the other is sustainable because it comes from inner control. Controlled presence also protects you from manipulation. Those who rush to respond can be steered. Those who pause cannot. The pause forces others to reveal intent. It shifts the power dynamic. The conversation slows to your rhythm, not theirs. In moments of conflict, presence matters more than arguments. People remember how you made them feel more than what you said. When you remain calm while others escalate, you win without confrontation. Your composure becomes the dominant narrative. The world is trained to mistake noise for strength. You must resist that illusion. Strength is the ability to remain steady, while everything around you tries to pull you into reaction. This steadiness becomes your signature. People begin to describe you as serious, grounded, difficult to read, not easily shaken. Machiavelli believed that a ruler must appear unwavering. Even when calculating, controlled presence allows you to think without revealing thought. It buys you time. It keeps your options open. It makes others move first. When you walk into a room with controlled presence, you are not there to impress. You are there to observe, to assess, and to decide whether engagement is necessary. That alone places you above those desperate to be seen. The more you control yourself, the less others can control you. Presence is the external proof of internal discipline. And discipline is the root of authority. Fear does not begin with threats. It begins with uncertainty. The human mind fears what it cannot measure, predict, or fully understand. Psychological intimidation is not about shouting, posturing, or force. It is about occupying space in someone's mind without giving them anything solid to fight against. Most people try to intimidate by being obvious. They raise their voice, they exaggerate their power, they reveal their anger. In doing so, they expose limits. Once limits are visible, fear disappears. Machiavelli understood that the most effective form of intimidation is subtle, controlled, and invisible. Silence is the foundation of psychological intimidation. When you do not respond the way others expect, you disrupt their sense of control. Their mind starts filling the gap you leave behind. They imagine intentions, consequences, and outcomes far worse than anything you could have said out loud. A quiet stare unsettles more than a loud insult. A delayed response creates more anxiety than an immediate reaction. When you do not rush to reassure, people begin to worry. When you do not explain yourself, they begin to speculate. And speculation is where fear multiplies. Psychological intimidation works because people project their own guilt, ambition, and insecurity onto silence. They assume you see more than you say. They assume you are calculating. They assume there is a plan forming behind your calm exterior. Whether or not this is true becomes irrelevant. The perception alone is enough to shift power. Machiavelli believed that fear is a more reliable tool than love, because fear is rooted in self-preservation. Psychological intimidation taps directly into that instinct. It makes others cautious. It slows their actions. It forces them to second-guess decisions that would otherwise be impulsive. Observe how people behave around someone they find psychologically intimidating. They choose words carefully. They hesitate before acting. They seek approval indirectly. This is control achieved without command. Intimidation does not require cruelty. It requires restraint. When you remain calm during moments that would provoke emotion in others, you signal that you are operating on a different level. You are not caught in the moment. You are not driven by impulse. You are watching. This creates asymmetry. While others react emotionally, you respond strategically. This imbalance is deeply unsettling. People feel exposed when they realize you are not emotionally invested in their attempts to provoke you. Psychological intimidation also comes from consistency. You do not break character under pressure. You do not contradict yourself. You do not reveal fear through overcompensation. This stability makes others unsure of how to approach you. The human brain seeks patterns to feel safe. When it cannot identify one, it becomes anxious. Your controlled unpredictability keeps others on edge. They never know whether you will speak, act, or remain silent. That uncertainty forces caution. Machiavelli warned against being either fully open or fully closed. Psychological intimidation lives in the space between. You reveal just enough to appear aware, but not enough to be understood. This balance keeps others guessing, while you remain in control. Fear grows when people believe you are capable but unreadable. They do not know how far you are willing to go, what you are willing to tolerate, or what consequences follow crossing you. This ambiguity becomes a mental barrier they hesitate to cross. You do not need to threaten consequences. Your demeanor implies them. Your silence suggests memory. Your calm suggests preparation. Your lack of reaction suggests options. Psychological intimidation also protects you. People are less likely to challenge someone they cannot predict. They choose safer targets. They redirect their aggression elsewhere. Without confrontation, you gain security. The mistake many make is trying to intimidate everyone. True power intimidates selectively. You do not need to scare allies. You only need to unsettle those who test boundaries. Machiavelli understood that intimidation is most effective when it feels effortless. The moment effort is visible, authority weakens. Psychological intimidation works because it requires no display. It exists in pauses, glances, and restraint. When you master this, people begin to monitor themselves around you. They censor their own behavior. They calculate their words. They feel watched even when you say nothing. And the most powerful part is that they intimidate themselves, creating fear where you have made no move at all. Most people mistake action for strength. They believe that moving first proves confidence, that responding quickly shows intelligence, that constant activity signals power. Machiavelli knew better. He understood that power belongs to those who can wait, observe, and choose the exact moment when action becomes unavoidable. Strategic restraint is not hesitation. It is discipline. It is the ability to resist the urge to react when emotion demands it and ego pushes for display. Every impulsive move reveals information. Every rushed decision exposes weakness. Restraint hides both. The world provokes constantly. Insults, challenges, distractions, opportunities designed to pull you off balance. Those who lack restraint respond to everything. Those who possess it respond only to what matters. This selectivity is what separates rulers from followers. Machiavelli warned that fortune favors those who appear decisive, but decisiveness without timing leads to ruin. Strategic restraint allows you to look decisive while acting minimally. You let situations unfold just enough to reveal their true shape before you intervene. When you restrain yourself, you force others to act first. And the one who acts first often exposes intent. They reveal desperation, ambition, or fear. This information becomes your advantage. You are no longer guessing. You are responding to facts. Restraint also creates tension. People grow uncomfortable when you do not respond immediately. They interpret delay as calculation. They assume you are weighing consequences. This assumption alone increases your perceived power. Strategic restraint trains patience, and patience sharpens judgment. Instead of reacting to surface-level events, you see underlying patterns. You distinguish between noise and signal. You recognize when an action is necessary and when it is a trap. Machiavelli believed that a leader must know when to be a lion and when to be a fox. Strategic restraint is the fox's strength. It allows you to avoid unnecessary battles while preparing for the ones that matter. Restraint also protects your resources. Energy, reputation, time, and emotional control are limited. Every unnecessary reaction drains them. By restraining yourself, you preserve strength for moments of true consequence. People often confuse restraint with weakness, because they are conditioned to associate strength with visibility. But true power is invisible until it becomes unavoidable. The most effective strike is the one that comes after long stillness. Strategic restraint also builds mystique. When people cannot predict when you will act, they become cautious. They hesitate to provoke. They assume that when you do move, it will be decisive. This anticipation magnifies the impact of your eventual action. In conflict, restraint denies opponents the satisfaction of reaction. It frustrates manipulation. Those who seek to provoke you lose momentum when their efforts produce nothing. Over time, they exhaust themselves. Machiavelli warned against revealing plans too early. Strategic restraint keeps intentions concealed. You do not announce moves. You do not threaten. You allow outcomes to speak. Restraint also gives you moral leverage. When you act after long patience, your actions appear justified. Observers perceive you as reasonable rather than aggressive. This perception protects your reputation while damaging your opponents. The disciplined individual chooses moments carefully. Not every insult deserves defense. Not every opportunity deserves pursuit. Not every battle deserves engagement. Strategic restraint allows you to conserve strength and strike where it counts. When you finally act, the contrast is powerful. Silence followed by action feels deliberate. Stillness followed by movement feels decisive. People remember the outcome, not the waiting. Machiavelli understood that history rewards those who act at the right moment, not those who act the most. Strategic restraint is the art of waiting without weakening, watching without revealing, and preparing without display. The person who masters restraint controls tempo. They slow down chaos. They speed up resolution. Others move at their rhythm without realizing it. Strategic restraint is not about doing nothing. It is about doing less until less becomes everything. Say nothing, not because you are powerless, but because you have learned where power truly lives. Silence becomes your shield, protecting your intentions from exposure. Controlled presence becomes your signature, shaping how others behave before you ever speak. Psychological intimidation works in your favor, not through threat, but through uncertainty that keeps others cautious. Strategic restraint ensures that when you finally act, the moment belongs entirely to you. Machiavelli understood that authority is not built through noise or constant motion, but through perception, timing, and discipline. Those who talk endlessly give away control. Those who react impulsively surrender it. But those who observe, wait, and choose their moments carefully rise above the chaos. When you master these principles, you no longer chase respect, it finds you. Fear does not come from cruelty, but from the awareness that you are not easily read, not easily moved, and not easily challenged. People adjust their behavior around you without being told to do so. This is the quiet dominance of those who understand human nature, the kind of power that does not need approval, explanation, or validation. The kind of power that shapes outcomes while remaining unseen. Say nothing. Let your silence speak, your presence command, your restraint calculate, and your actions decide everything.